everybody, if you're seeing this video, then my 30-day suspension from posting videos is over. Apparently, something I said in my April 19th message went against community standards. It was probably something I said that was critical of the World Health Organization and China, since I addressed current events and information that we've learned since they first issued their guidelines. And I guess the powers that be don't allow dissent on the issue. Go figure. With that being said, I still encourage you all to continue to stay safe while we go through this together. Now, I've spoken with the president of the church council, and we've agreed not to reopen yet, even though some of our fellow congregations are doing so. We respect their decision and are glad that they're free to make it for themselves. However, since our congregation is highly populated by the higher risk community, we've decided to err on the side of caution and remain closed for the time being. We'll keep you posted as to when we will resume in-person services. So this is Memorial Day weekend, and of course, I wanted to honor our fallen heroes. So today, I want to talk about freedom. It's a big issue these days with the debate over the shutdowns and reopening. We all value safety, of course, but as Americans, we also value liberty very highly. In times like these, we're forced as a society to balance the two. And honestly, I think that Governor DeWine here in Ohio has found a pretty good balance of issuing guidelines without being too restrictive. Now, I'm not going to go into much greater detail than that because I don't want this video to be taken down too. Just suffice to say that we all want the same thing: to reopen our states and resume our lives as quickly and safely as possible. Now, these two criteria are not mutually exclusive, but they do have to be balanced. So please pray for President Trump and the governors as they weigh them and implement their plans. And as churches and businesses are given the option to reopen, pray for them too. Because as hard as it was for pastors and faith leaders to close their doors, it'll also be a challenge for them to reopen safely as well. But as I said, on Memorial Day, we're reminded of the value of freedom and liberty and the high cost with which it is purchased. Because, as they say, freedom is not free. It was bought at a price. Our nation's founders fought with blood, sweat, and tears, literally, to purchase our independence from a tyrannical government and establish this great nation upon the foundation of liberty. For more than 2 centuries afterward, we have sent our young men and women into battle to defend, preserve, and protect that liberty. Among them are our veterans who are among us today. I thank each and every one of you for your service and pray that wherever you go, you are given the due respect and honor that your uniform deserves. But today in particular, we remember the ones who never made it back home. They paid the ultimate sacrifice, buying our freedom with their blood, sweat, tears, and their very lives. They embody the words of Jesus in John 15:13 when he said, "Greater love has no man than this, than to lay down his life for his friends." Yes, freedom comes with a price, and it is paid in blood. So let us never forget their sacrifice, and let us never trade that freedom that came at so high a price. I'm reminded of the story of Jacob and Esau. In Genesis 25, verse 23, it was prophesied that Esau would serve Jacob, even though Esau had the birthright of the firstborn son. That prophecy was fulfilled when Esau traded his birthright to Jacob for a bowl of stew. And that's in Genesis 25, verses 29 through 35, if you want to go back and read that passage. This is a situation that we too often find ourselves in, consumed by the desires of the moment, so hungry to fill our bellies right now that we're blinded to the extreme cost that we're willing to pay. Then, when the deal is done, we regret our impulsive decision. But just as with Esau, by then, it's too late to go back. For Esau, he traded his birthright for a bowl of stew. What will we trade our liberty for? Security? Safety? Health care? Free college? some other global agenda? We have to ask ourselves, are these the equivalent of a bowl of stew compared to the birthright of liberty that we take for granted? And just to be clear, when I use that term birthright, I use it allegorically. Liberty is the birthright of all Americans, whether you were born here or were adopted into the family as an immigrant. Just as with the family of God, as it says in John chapter 1, verses 12 and 13, to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God, born not of natural descent, but born of God. Likewise, those who would become part of the American family to receive citizenship and join our way of life, receive by adoption the birthright of liberty. And we all have to understand just how precious that birthright is. Today we honor those who bought our liberty and preserved it with our blood, sweat, tears, and, as I said, their very lives. Because, as I keep stressing, freedom isn't free. It was bought at a price. Which brings me to my final thought for today. Romans chapter 6 explains that Christ's death was the sacrifice that sets us free from sin and offers us eternal life. And therefore, as it says in 1 Corinthians 6, verses 19 and 20, we are not our own. We were bought at a price. Our freedom, our liberty, our very lives were bought and paid for in blood. We owe a debt of gratitude that we can never repay. So let's cherish our liberty and live our lives to honor those who bought it for us, our veterans and our fallen warriors for our freedom, and Jesus Christ for our souls. As it says in Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA, I'm proud to be an American where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defenders still today. Because there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And now before we go, here's my old band, the Real Life Band, from the Real Life Community of Faith in Morristown, Ohio, playing Paid It All in November 2012 at the Simpson United Methodist Church in Moundsville, West Virginia. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.